I am Chelsea, the content creator and designer behind Knitting Tipsy, and welcome to a body doubling crafty hour. If you often find yourself scrolling or your brain is getting distracted by all of the things that you have to do, I am here to be your body double, to yarn with you for 1 hour, that's it. And if you need to break it up into smaller segments, I will be setting a timer on my phone for 20 minutes and I'll be rotating through 3 projects. If you have 3 knit or crochet whips that you'd like to switch up with me and get a little bit of progress done on each, go ahead. Or if you have one that you just want to yarn on with me for an hour, that sounds great too. So go ahead and pour yourself a cozy beverage of choice. Today I am working with some Prosecco, but also I have a matcha sakura latte from one of my favorite coffee shops here in Orlando. It is light on the sugar and it is amazing. So I'm probably going to alternate between these two. Does matcha and Prosecco go well together? Sure. But grab that cozy beverage and let's get started. Before we dive in though, I do just want to shout out my beautiful sweater that got pulled out of my closet because we are in another cold snap here in Florida. It was 57 degrees today. Frigid temperatures. I'm sure some of you that are up north are cursing me out right now, but it's cold for us. But this is my Magic Hour sweater by Two of Wands. I'll pop in a picture here so you can see it in its entirety. I knit this 2 years ago, I think. It is a really relaxing meditative make. It uses garter stitch, and the yarn I chose to work with for this project was Lion Brand Mandala Ombre. And I think the colorway, I think it was like Serenity or Serendipity, Serene. I think it was something like that. Hopefully I have corrected myself here, if not. And for my first project today, I'm going to choose to work on something else that's very meditative, that's going to be easy to talk through, that is very cozy, and it's giving all of these self-care and self-love vibes. It is my Cordelia cardigan by Megan Makes Do. I'm not super far along, and that is totally okay. I cast this on, I think the week before Valentine's Day. I was intending to save it as Valentine's Day week cast on, as like a self-love week cast on, but I needed something to knit on with my Ko-fi subscribers. We do virtual whip and sips every month, and I decided to cheat a little bit and cast this on early. I am using the Lion Brand yarn, Feels Like Butter, in colorway pink. And I bought this as a kit through Lion Brand and Megan Makes Do. The colors in her sweater I think are absolutely gorgeous in the sample, and that was what I wanted, but they weren't in stock. So I'm really happy that I ended up going with this super light pink for the body. And then my contrast for the duplicate stitch hearts that I'll be making whenever I finish the cardigan, this is colorway Dusty Pink. I just think they look so nice together. It's so girly and springy and definitely has the Valentine's Day vibes still, but I love it. All right, so let's get my timer. And we have 20 minutes on the clock. Do I need anything else for this project? No, we are just doing stockinette. Start. So I was pretty excited to cast this project on because there have been a lot of ups and downs. I'm trying not to make every video that I post really like grief heavy, but at the same time, that's just kind of my life right now. So if you didn't know, we lost our sweet buddy Rudy back in December, and it's been really hard. It's been incredibly hard to do pretty much anything. He was so, just every routine, every activity had Rudy in it. We had him for 13 years, and especially where yarning is concerned, it's been hard because he was my little assistant for, sorry, I lowered the camera. I just felt like you couldn't see me yarning with you. But Rudy was my little assistant for all of my projects, and so I have found that it has been hard to find, I don't want to say as much joy because knitting and crocheting is still a comfort to me during this time, but it has been hard to kind of find like my mojo and my enthusiasm and sometimes even my creativity for yarning like I used to have. But I get little snippets of it. I get little pockets of it. And I think missing him during this activity is also kind of beautiful because he's been a part of knitting Tipsy from the get-go. So I will probably always miss him whenever I yarn, and that's okay. But normally for Valentine's Day, I create myself a handmade outfit. It's one of my favorite things because I think Valentine's Day, yes, it is what do they call it? A Hallmark holiday. It definitely has been taken over by capitalism and overconsumption and the patriarchy and everything else. But I think that there's also some reclamation of it as a holiday for love and kindness in all forms. So whether it's platonic friendships and Galentine's Day, or even self-love, which is a lot of how I like to celebrate this holiday. I think it's a great week to remember that we could all use a little more love in the world. And so every year in the weeks leading up to Valentine's Day, I create myself a project. Sometimes it is something that I have designed, and sometimes it is something that I want more of like the meditative project. I don't need to think. I can just work on it and have a beautiful, garment or accessory at the end. So I try to find the balance between those things. And I knew this year I was not going to be up for doing that. So I thought, maybe I'll just find a really cool project that still has the self-love, the meditativeness, and work on it as, a little act of self-love and self-care for myself. And back in early January, mid-January, for some reason, January 7th is sticking in my mind. I think that's when I got like the notification that the order had been received. But I saw that Megan Makes Do had come up with 2 Valentine's Day cardigans, the knit cardigan that I am working on, and also a crochet one. I think it was called the Esme cardigan. And I thought, that's it. Just a very sweet little cardigan. It will go with so much because I am pink girly and I also love green. And I think this is going to go with a lot in my closet. If you want to check out all of the Valentine's Day projects that I have made, kind of like a self-love wrap-up, I did do a big post over on my Ko-fi. Ko-fi is very similar to Patreon. I do blog posts on there and videos and freebies, and there are 3 tiers of membership. If you sign up for the Self-Love Club and higher, which is only $6 a month, you will get access to weekly posts like mental health, behind the scenes, and also my Wardrobe Wednesday series, where I share tips on styling your handmaids and body confidence. And you will find the post for Valentine's Day where I shared, I think I made 10 Valentine's Day outfits and accessories, which is pretty cool. But I am really, really happy that this project I love simple projects. I know some people, they get bored with them. I do not, because for me, a lot of what knitting and crocheting is, especially if I'm working on other people's designs and patterns, it is the getting, like, it's having something in my hands, something that's meditative, something that is soothing. It helps with my anxiety. I also feel like as the years have gone on, it's hard. I think all of us, just as a society, damn social media and phones, it can be hard to just focus on one task. And I have a really hard time watching a movie and not doing something else. Sometimes I know I'm not alone. Please tell me I'm not alone. I know that I'm not. But sometimes it's like watching a show or movie and looking up all of the trivia about the show and the movie while I'm watching it. Or like looking up, oh, this actor, I know that I know them in something, and I'm still listening to the movie and watching the movie, but I'm also learning all about the actor that has some obscure role that I found in it. And it's really, it does bother me that I struggle to do just one thing sometimes. But I can also just knit. I don't have to have a show on. I don't have to have a a movie on, usually. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I think that knitting and crocheting is the one task that I can sit outside and listen to the birds chirp and just kind of be with my own thoughts. And when I'm having thoughts that are really loud and unkind, I find that the soothing, the rhythm of the stitches helps me, remember a lot of my therapy techniques. It helps me remember to reframe. It reminds me to be kind to myself as I'm sitting here like, hey, we don't talk about our friend that way. And I am my friend, we don't do that. And we can, yep, these thoughts are here and we don't have to listen to them. We can just let them fly on by with the rhythm of our needles. So, definitely stockinette in particular, whether it's in the round or it's, knit and purl rows, I find to be very soothing. Garter stitch too, but those are the kind of projects that I crave whenever I am in a tough place. And it should be no shock to hear that that's really like all I want to work on right now. I want to work on easy repeats. I want to work on patterns that are not complicated. And yeah, simple designs like this. I think I had diverted from my original point here. Sorry. Grief brain is real. But simple designs, I think some people, they don't like them. But for me, I love making simple designs. I love designing simply. So this project appealed to me a lot. And then when I bought it and I saw the construction, I was very, very excited at how simple and how many amazing rows of mindless knitting I would get. How many times do you think I can say mindless and meditative during this episode? I bet it's a lot. You know what? If you want to get really fucked up, you should do a shot every time I say it. This is a good project, I think, for grief, for anxiety, for depression, any kind of simple garter stitch. Or my favorite crochet stitch for when I need to just relax is either granny stitch. I think granny stitch is one of the stitches that I can do without looking, working into the spaces from the previous row and just the 3 double crochets together. I love that one. And also half double crochet. I want to make a t-shirt that says half double crochet all day, HDC all day, because that is my favorite stitch. And I find doing that stitch so calming and soothing. So those would be, if you needed recommendations from my personal opinion of what to work on hard days, it would be granny stitch, half double crochet, stockinette, flat or in the round, or a garter stitch project. And hot tip, if you are an anxiety haver like me, highly recommend you look into breath work if you haven't already. That has been one of the most helpful tools that I have learned about in my anxiety healing journey. And knitting and crochet, I think, works really well with breath work. You can do different types of breathing, like box breathing, where you inhale for a certain count, hold for a certain count, exhale for a certain count, and then hold again for a certain count. The count that I usually hear people talk about is 4, but I don't know if it's just because I've worked on breath work so much, but I feel like I can go deeper. Oh boy, that sounded bad. I can inhale longer. I can exhale longer. I feel like, maybe the 4 count is a little not enough for me. So sometimes I up it to 6. So if you want to try it, I'll do it with you right now. Are you ready? We're going to inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. So that's box breathing. And I'm not an expert on it by any means, but I do really like that one. And I think my personal favorite is just working on making your exhales longer than your inhales, so it can be a little game with yourself. I do have a small device called my Calmigo that I use that's really helpful for those longer exhalations, which those longer exhalations, they, see if I remember this correctly, they stimulate your parasympathetic system, which is what like helps you calm down. And it's the exhale that does it, not the inhale. So, you know, if you take an inhale for like a 4 count, then you want to exhale for 7 or 8. And if you're elongating your inhales, you also want to make sure that your exhales are becoming longer too. So I think one of the ones that I hear the most is like, I think it's 4 and 7, but you inhale for 4, exhale for 7. That one's really nice. I like that one a lot. And I feel that is the one that I reach for whenever I feel like I'm in the middle of an anxiety attack or when I feel a panic attack coming on. That's in particular is the breathing technique that I really reach for. So yes, a nice meditative project. I do have to say another reason that we're doing the body doubling this week. One is because it is just something that I really enjoy. I like knitting and crocheting along with someone and listening to them gab and laughing along. But I had also thought, oh, maybe I'll do a Show Us Your Knits episode this week. That's my podcast where I show my finished objects and my works in progress from, it used to be once a month, but I'm hoping to do them more frequently, maybe twice a month. But the start of the year with January, you know, having such a hard time and not even really having the desire to film. And now in February, having the desire to film again, but I'm working on a secret project for Knit Stars, and it's taking up almost all of my yarning time, and I can't show y'all anything. So I haven't really worked on any other projects. I'm knitting much more slowly and crocheting much more slowly than I have in the past, because my brain is having a hard time focusing. I said I'd talk about it later. My brain's having a really hard time not thinking about things that make me cry, or just like, oh, I need to do that. And then I get on my phone and I look at something, which is why we're holding ourselves accountable right now. And it's really hard for me to stay in the work. So I'm slower. I don't mean my hands are necessarily moving slower, but just my ability to focus on one project for any long period of time is rough. I've never had this before. This is rough. So yeah. And, you know, also just trying to hold myself together on bad days and, you know, also take care of the house and do all the other things that I need to do in my life and my relationships and everything. It's just, I have only worked on the one project. I have literally nothing to show y'all. So I have this cast on that I did. But yeah, another reason why, because we're moving slowly. And I think in winter, we are approaching spring. I wonder if Rudy planned it that way. I mean, it never would have been a good time for him to leave us. But I do wonder if he left so early in winter because he knew that I'd need time. Sorry. And, you know, winter is the time for rest and reflection and mourning and death and decay. And I wonder if he did it that way so that I could, you know, heal with the seasons and start spring. Not all bouncy and fresh and new, but, you know, really have a start to the new year in the spring. So I don't know. Part of me would like to believe that that's what happened. But yeah, so it's nice to take things slowly, especially now. But as we get into spring, I do have some creativity is coming back to me, some ideas, some things that I want to work on, things I want to cast on, both my own designs and just projects that I created a nice mood board for myself. I did a 2025 bingo card, which if you haven't seen those, go onto Pinterest. What a fun way to set I don't even know if I want to call them goals, just like manifestations for yourself in the year. And you get so many more, and you can make them fun. You can make them fun. You can try every coffee shop in your city. That can be one of your bingo card goals. It doesn't have to be the 90s, 2000s. I'm going to lose 10 pounds this year. I'm going to increase my savings by X. It doesn't have to be those things. It doesn't have to be anything that you don't want it to be. So yeah, I did a bingo card for myself, and I also just wrote like all of these projects that I've been wanting to make and to cast on, and I wrote them all down. And I don't know, I'm getting itchy fingers. I need to finish my design for Knit Stars, and oh my God, y'all, I'm so excited to show you. I can't wait till it's not a secret anymore because it's turning out magnificently, even though it's slow. But I'm like, I want to cast on everything. And I have a lot of whips from the last few years. I think under this couch, I think we did a video together where I cleaned my office. I think I had like 15, upwards of 15. And I think there are 13 whips under there. So I am not lacking for projects. If I wanted to, I could pull out one of 13 whips. And I'm like, no, those ones are in hibernation. I need some new things. So don't ever feel bad for casting on a new project if it brings you joy. Life is short, cast on. That should be a t-shirt too. Life is short, cast on. I think our timer's about to go off. Let's see. 2, 1. We did it, y'all. We just yarned for 20 minutes. If you need a bathroom break, if you need a refill on your drink, I'm gonna take a little sippy sip. You can go ahead and do that now. I'm gonna put this project away and grab my next one. Get some matcha in here. Okay, the second project that I'm going to work on, this one is crochet. Let me show you all of the beautiful granny squares. And let me show you the gorgeous yarn. We are using minis for this. This project is going to be a new design of mine that I actually can show you ahead of time. Thanks to my Ko-fi for helping me name this one. This design is going to be called the Relaxation Ruana. I've had the idea for this project for quite a while, and I finally in December decided to go for it I probably decided to go for it back in like October or November. But I had bought a set of these beautiful minis from the Little Wolf Knits. These are her holiday treats pixie sticks. I think sometimes she also calls them her Christmas treats pixie sticks or Christmas pixie sticks. But I love that these colors do feel Christmassy, but they also don't have to be Christmassy. I don't know. And I love like the names. I think one of them is like, don't forget the rum. I think one is something to do with like a gingerbread. I think one's a candy cane, sugar plum. I don't remember all of them, but they are just beautiful. And I love how they all go together, even though they're so different. And so I had told the idea to Brie, and we were coming up with a color that would work because I knew I wanted them to be granny squares, but they needed to be joined with something. So we went with her Honey Sticks colorway, which is also fun, Honey Sticks and the Pixie Sticks. And it's so cool how well this color works with each yarn and just brings everything together. So like here it is with the pink, which I am assuming is the candy cane kind of colorway, or maybe it's the sugar plum. No, I think the dark one's the sugar plum. With this one, it looks gorgeous with the cream. I think this is the sugar plum. But I just love how it all looks together. And I do have one of the squares blocked, and I added the border just to make sure I was gonna like how it looks. I'm going to be doing a, join as you go crochet method to join all the squares. So you actually don't do the final row until you're joining them all together. And it's really cool how it ends up working. I've seen some really great tutorials for this. So I'm very excited. I think this is gonna look really cool. It's going to be a very relaxing, comforting project. If you like granny squares, I find granny squares to be very meditative because I find the granny stitch to be very meditative. And I think that this is going to be really fun for people to customize with colors. Plus, it's a Ruana. If it turns out like I am envisioning it, it's going to be so great on the beach over a bikini, but also like it's Christmassy. So I feel like putting this with like a turtleneck sweater underneath and jeans, which is so not my style, but oh my gosh, I think it's gonna look beautiful. I'm gonna have to buy a turtleneck just to try this out because I think it's gonna be so great for wintertime as like a cozy layer. But with the granny squares being open, I also think if you just wanna toss it on over a bikini and it'll be like 3/4 sleeves, oversized, deep armholes, I totally think that this is something that you could wear, you know, over your jean shorts and just with your bikini on underneath. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it turns out. Anyways, this is a project that I started. I think I started it back in December. And it's something I worked on a lot with Rudy. He was with me for it. It's something that I brought with me to the vet whenever he had his first emergency prior to passing. And I had really strong memories associated with him in this project. And for a while, it was too hard to work on. And while it is still, you know, I still associate it with him, but I'm excited to have, you know, a design come out that he was still part of. I think it's going to be really hard to have designs that he's not a part of, that he didn't hear me talk about. My little guy, you never realize how much you talk to your dog until they're gone. But, you know, I talked to him like he was a person, because he was. He was just, you know, a 4-legged person with lots of fur. And, you know, I'd ask him what he thought about things, and he was always so supportive. And, you know, I'd snuggle with him and stuff. So that will be hard. But, yeah, at least this one I still have with him, and I think that'll be really nice and special to have it come out. So even if it's just for me, I'm definitely planning on writing a pattern, but should I not, you know, then that's still a very special make that I have with him. But this is where I am on this current granny square. So I'm going to go ahead and set our timer. We'll see, can I finish the whole granny square in 20 minutes? Usually I can, but I also know I'm very gabby right now, so we'll have to see. All right, ready? 20 minutes. Here we go. Well, here you guys go. I need to clean up my tears for a second. So yes, as I work on this, I know that I will think about my baby. I have lately, the last 2 weeks, been struggling because I'm remembering like his final weekend and his final moments. And, you know, it was just time. He was 14, 15 years old. Steve and I were actually just talking. We're wondering if maybe he was a little bit older, because when we fostered him and adopted him, they told us he was like about a year old. So we do wonder if he was like a little bit older than we thought. But yeah, those memories are really tough and hard, and my brain, that's what it seems to want to focus on, which of course are very sad. Even, you know, it was peaceful and it was wonderful, but it was still so sad. Wonderful in the sense that like we were able to hold him and his face was in the sunshine and things like that. But I have 13 years of incredible memories with that little guy. So I am trying hard to focus on those and all the love and fun. Gosh, we had fun with him. He traveled with us too. I don't know how much I've talked about that in other videos, but Rudy was a world traveler. He had been to the Bahamas. He went to several different states in the US. He went to Costa Rica for my 30th birthday. That was really fun. And I'm probably in a little bit going to talk about a very fun moment that we had in Costa Rica. When I talk about a design that I want to do with Rudy. Fuck it. I'll tell you the story now. But I'll talk about the design in a little bit. But when we went to Costa Rica for my 30th birthday, there is so much paperwork that you have to do to travel with your dog internationally. It's a huge thing. Like, you have to do so much stuff in advance. And then in like the 2 days before your trip, you have to go to the vet and you have to get like a checkup within 48 hours before they travel. And they have to have all of these, you know, papers and statements saying that they're healthy and they have all their vaccinations and just all of these things that you have to do. And it's expensive. You know, you can't, it's not cheap to travel with your pet. So we do all of that. And I'm so nervous. And we get to the San Jose airport in Costa Rica. And I have Rudy and we're walking around. And this very sweet older gentleman, you know, in his like Costa Rican TSA uniform. He's like, hola, hola, buenos días. ¿Tiene su perro? I'm like, yes, I have my dog. And come up and I have all this paperwork that I'm ready to hand him. And he just smiles at me and he looks at Rudy and he pulls out a manila folder with a notebook paper with like the raggedy edge of a notebook paper. And it just has all of these dog names, their color, and that's like, and the date. And he's like, what's his name? And I said, oh, Rudy. So he writes Rudy. And then next to it, he's like, Perro Moreno, brown dog. And puts the date and he smiles and he's like, go ahead. We're like, he didn't ask to see a single document, anything. So I have this amazing birthday in Costa Rica. Rudy does great. And we're leaving Costa Rica. We're back at the airport and it's the same guy, the same lovely gentleman. And he smiles, pulls out the manila envelope with a piece of paper and his name. And I said, Rudy. And he goes, Perro Moreno. He's like, brown dog. So I guess I could have come back with any brown dog and it would have been fine. But yeah, that's how easy it was in Costa Rica. Entering back into the United States, they wanted to know everything about Rudy. Oh my gosh. I would like, and they're not nice. They're not, I'm sure there are nice. I don't want to say like as a whole or to stereotype them, but somebody must have been having a bad day when we got there because boy, were they mean. Like, I'm like, I swear he's our dog. It was rough, but yeah, we had some good adventures with Rudy. On that trip, I'm also terrified of spiders. I'm trying this year hard to maybe not get over my fear, but to lessen it so that I don't like scream and panic when I see spiders. And I'm trying to do that by reminding myself that they're fiber artists too. That is making me happy. Like, I see cartoons of spiders now and I think they're cute. Whereas before I was like, like I don't even like that. But that is making me happy. Like, they are fiber artists too. But anyway, spiders, why am I telling you this? Because in Costa Rica, there are some big ass tarantulas, especially in the area that we were in, Dominical. And we were in this amazing house on the cliffs of Dominical. And we're sitting there and I am quite intoxicated and having a good time. And Rudy's just like napping on my lap. I think we were playing card games and just, it was a bunch of my family and friends were there. And just having the best time. And my friend Nikki is like, hey, Chelsea, lift up your feet. And I was like, what? I lift up my feet. Big ass tarantula just walking on by. And I was just holding Rudy to my chest because I was so scared. And then the rest of the trip, I was a little paranoid that he was going to get bitten by a tarantula. But yeah, Rudy and spiders. Sorry, that's where my brain went. That's the story you get today. Something else I wanted to tell you guys where Rudy and memories are concerned is a little tip. It's something I mentioned in my newsletter. If you are not subscribed to my email list, I call them, they are both the same. The email list is also the newsletter list. It is the perfect place to be if you want to keep up to date on all things Knitting Tipsy. I use that as kind of the central point for communication. So, you know, whether you want to know what's happening on Instagram or here on YouTube or on my Ko-fi, I'll always let you know what's happening over on Ko-fi there. You want to be on the email list. I also send out my tester calls to my email list first. So it's especially good if you want to test things for me. And I also give out freebies for Valentine's Day. I had some cocktail recipes. I had a Valentine's Day playlist. I called it the Millennial Makers Valentine's Day playlist. and other freebies that I send out there. And I also always include in my newsletter either progress on my whips. So if you're not an Instagrammer or you just know that you miss things on Instagram, but you want that in your inbox, you can always see the progress on projects that I'm working on. And my favorite things, which is kind of my favorite thing to put in my newsletter. I put 3 favorite things from the week. So sometimes I will give you a link to a book that I'm really enjoying and tell you a little bit about it, or I'll share with you a recipe, either food or cocktail inspired, that I'm really loving. Makeup products, different things. It's fun. So, get on my email list. I'll put the link to join in the description. But the hot tip. Can y'all tell I'm a little chatty today? The hot tip is, if you want something that's going to make you feel like really productive this year, and it's something so simple and easy, and it's also going to just like make you smile or cringe with memories, every day, go into your Photos app on your phone and just type the date. So today is February 20th. So type February 20th in there, and it should pull up all of the photos, the photos you've taken, downloads that you have, screenshots, all of that stuff. It will pull up from every year that you have your phone. And you can go through and you can clean it out. You can get rid of the photos or the videos that you don't need anymore, or you can, put them into the cloud and then delete them off of your phone. It's also just really nice to kind of see those memories and reminisce. It's been nice. Almost every day there has been a Rudy memory, which it has been amazing and very helpful for my brain with, trying to remember the bad parts. It's been very helpful to remember the good too. So you get to go through all of that, your memories. And then it doesn't feel daunting because it's just one day. And I think the most that it's ever taken me for like a one-day thing was maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, because I actually wanted to watch the videos, or, there were so many like doubles that I had to go through and be like, oh, okay, which one am I going to keep of these? But yeah, it's a really nice way to feel like, wow, I'm cleaning out my phone storage just a little bit at a time. And oh my gosh, I can't believe how much storage I've already cleaned out just because of like doing this every day in January and so far in February. Normally my phone is yelling at me constantly, like, you don't have enough space to take this video, and you need to not download another book because you don't have any space. And now my phone's like, no, we got it. We got plenty of room. So that's been kind of amazing. I might be having a hard year, but my phone storage clean out is going really well, y'all. I cannot believe that it is, when I said February 20th, like that's when we're cleaning out our phones. Or the day that I, inputted today to clean out my phone. I can't believe it. I know so many people have been like, thank God January's over. That was the longest month ever. I needed January to be long, and I still feel like maybe it was a little short for me. February is just flying by. And I think one thing that my husband and I are going to do this weekend is finally put down our Christmas decorations. Yeah, we still have them up. This is not a typical thing. I have been very hung up on not wanting to take them down because this past Christmas was supposed to be our Christmas with Rudy. We knew it was probably his last. Never would have imagined that he wouldn't make it to then. But I just had so many plans with him, things that I wanted to do, in the weeks leading up to Christmas. We got to do some of them, but yeah, I'm heartbroken that we didn't get to have that. And I'm heartbroken that, time just keeps going, you feel like the world should stop whenever your world stops, and it doesn't. And that's been rough. So I have not wanted to let go of Christmas, but like the last couple days, it feels like it's time. We have a timer set on all of our Christmas lights. Our Christmas lights outside, by the way, are down. We're not that. And there's no shame if you're the people that leave your lights up year round, or if you're the people that still have them up in the spring, zero judgment from me. But that is not us this year. We've never been those people. And Steve, he was like, can I at least take down the outside ones? And I was like, yes. But we still have the timer on all of our Christmas lights inside. And our poor Christmas tree, like they've just burnt out at certain so there's just like the center is lit up, and it really does just look so sad. So I'm like, you know what? It's time. So if you don't hear from me much this weekend, it's probably because it's going to be a hard weekend to really do that. I am cracking up. I didn't set the timer. I might have, like maybe I set it and like then turned it off somehow, but I'm seeing my recording for this video is saying 20 minutes. So, you know what, let's do 2 more granny stitches, and then we're going to say it's approximately 20 minutes. Okay. But well done, y'all. We did another 20. Yay. And I almost finished this granny square. I told you, when I chat, I'm a little slower at making. One thing I wanted to tell you guys while I was working on that, and I totally forgot, just got off topic, shocking, talking about Rudy and everything, is that I have a new design in mind. I've started planning it out, and it is going to be all about Rudy. It's going to be a beach blanket wrap, or, you know, for people who live up north, like just a blanket wrap, something very cozy to wear. And I'm just picturing it being like a big Rudy snuggle and a Rudy hug. And I spent several weeks trying to find the right yarn and like crying. I just couldn't find the Rudy yarn. I wanted it to be his colors, and I wanted it to, you know, just feel right. And I finally found it. It got delivered just a few days ago. I did open it because I just wanted to make sure, like I had my hopes up. I wanted to make sure that it was right, and it's so right. So I'm going to be doing a whole video, I think, on maybe like a series of videos that I post about making that design. But I'm really excited. If it goes according to plan, people will be able to substitute their fur baby's colors or just like their favorite colors. You can get as creative as you want with it. And we've talked about meditative, mindful, making. I think it's going to be a great project for that. The whole project is going to be very soothing. So stay tuned. The final project that I'm going to work on, and again, if you want to pull out a third project or if you need to take a potty break or anything like that, go ahead. But the final project I'm going to work on is my Teresa dress. Let me pop in a picture of, it's longer now, but this is where I was right whenever I was splitting. No, I did a little more length before I split for the hip split. But yeah, this is a project I have not touched it in months. Definitely haven't touched it since 2024. And even in 2024, I don't think I had picked it up for like a month or two, maybe more. I absolutely love this project. I have not touched it in months. For real. I have not touched it since 2024 for sure. And I can't remember when the last time I worked on it in 2024 was. I think maybe October or November. It is I'm making this obviously for myself, and it's wonderful. And the designer is Elizabeth Margaret Knits. If I haven't said that already, she's an amazing designer. I have been making this as a part of a series that I am doing called Magical Making, where I combine my love of witchy things with yarny things and create a very mindful and magical finished object. I had obviously some things with Rudy going on at the end of the year, and have not, when he was alive even, and just thought, oh, I'm going to pick this up in the new year. Maybe I'll have it finished for my birthday, or maybe I'll have it finished for Valentine's Day. Well, then things with Rudy happened, and it's been really hard, as I have said before, for me to focus and to work on this. I want to be able to think intentionally and to put the energy that I want into this project, and I haven't felt that way. To be quite honest, my magical light within me, my witchiness, has felt pretty dim lately. The card that I associate with this, the tarot card that I associate with this project, is the High Priestess, which is all about divine feminine energy, sensuality, connecting to your intuition, magic, all of these things. And because I haven't felt a strong connection in that way, I haven't wanted to work on it. But I did have a really incredible experience that I'm going to talk about as soon as I start the timer. Let's not forget, Chelsea. Okay. Proof that the timer is started. But because this is part of my magical making dress, I feel like I should talk about something that is magical and spiritual and really makes me feel connected. And also, if you're listening to this and you are like, oh God, I'm so not into the woo-woo or anything, that's fine. Like you don't have to be. I hope you can just sit and listen without being upset or feeling like I'm pushing anything on you, because I am really not. I think everybody should believe whatever they want to believe and practice whatever they want to practice. But this is not me trying to force anything on you. It was right before Rudy's birthday in August, and he was having a really, really hard time. We had put him on some medication that we were hoping was going to help with his dementia. He had canine cognitive disorder, and we were really hoping that this was going to be something to help with that. And instead, it gave him convulsions and tremors, and he just really lost his spark. And we were really worried that we were going to lose him. And so right before his birthday, it was a full moon, and I love all of the moon goddesses. I love the triple goddesses. I love all things associated with the moon and that magic I feel very connected to. So one of my favorite of the divine goddesses is Hecate. And if you don't know much about Hecate, she is the goddess that represents often maiden, mother, and crone. So kind of that cyclical aspect of life. She's also known as the torch bearer, and she lives in the liminal places. So, the in-between spaces. And whenever, life and death are coming to kind of greet each other, she is often considered somebody who lights the path and helps guide people to the next journey. She's also the goddess of dogs. She is often depicted with dogs, and it's said to honor her, you can always help dogs in need, you can donate to dogs. And I love her. I love all of the stories that I hear about her. She's not always wonderful and awesome like any of the goddesses. There are light and dark sides, and mostly gray shades to these people. But yeah, I felt like maybe I would want to work with her when Rudy was ill. So my husband, he's so sweet. He supports all. He's woo-woo adjacent because I don't think he believes in any of it, but he's so supportive of me that, and if I ever oh, will you help me with this? Or will you go to this thing? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, he's pretty awesome. But yeah, so I wrote this prayer, this spell, however you want to call it, and created a little ritual to do. And on the full moon we were trying to wait till midnight, but we're old, so it was 11. We went to the crossroads, which is often where you can feel her presence, or if you want to work with her, they often suggest working at crossroads. And so I, just kind of talked about Rudy and, asked. What I asked for was if I didn't want him to be in pain, and if he had to go in the most gentle way possible, knowing that we loved him. And, I know that we can't control death and how someone goes, but if it was at all within her power, the universe's power, any higher power, to make sure that he went pain free and knowing that we loved him, that's what I wanted for him. So I did this ritual. It was really great. If you're interested, you can send me a message, and I wrote down the spell that I did. So it was really beautiful. And Rudy got better. I'm not saying it was because of the spell. I'm just saying he got better. And I was very thankful for that. And I didn't realize it until later. But when Rudy did pass, it was exactly, I always struggled because I was would I want him to go in his sleep? And I'm like, oh, that would be so. I had a dog, a childhood dog that went that way. And it's like, oh, they probably just passed while they were sleeping. But like, I'm not there to be with it. Like, I knew that that would be hard on me. And, like, what if he was something in his sleep? What if he felt scared alone? All of those things. Like, would I want to be able to plan, like, to know, okay, we're going to schedule it for like a week from today. We're going to, help him cross over, and then know that it's coming for like a whole week. I was like, oh God, like, yes, we'd be able to do all these things and, just make sure that we spent that time loving him as much as we can. But oh God, how hard would that be? And then like, you never want the traumatic way, but you think like, what if it just happened that day? And then I'm like, yeah, but then I wouldn't get it all on that time. I'd be missing out on all that time with him. Anyways, it was, as it always is, taken completely out of our hands. And while we definitely didn't get a week, we didn't know until that day that it was really happening. But so many things could have gone wrong and they went right. And we were able to get him stabilized and to bring him home and to spend several hours with him. And then to have this beautiful day where he sat in the sun for a little bit and we talked to him, and for somebody to come to the house and to help him cross over peacefully. So I like kind of was laughing. I'm like, I guess that spell did work because that's exactly how he went. So I really want to do some sort of like ritual or something that just kind of is like a thank you to God, the universe, Hecate, whatever higher power you believe in, that just helped with that, because I'm very grateful. And I also think what is pretty cool is like the high priestess, divine feminine energy, all of that often does link to the moon because of our monthly cycles, and moon goddesses, Selene, Hecate is one of them. And the weekend that Rudy passed was also a full moon. And the night before he passed, he had a really hard night and he kept wanting to go outside and just sit and kind of cry, because he was uncomfortable and in pain. And I kept getting up to go sit outside with him and just, kind of hold him. Sorry, I knew that one stitch is always like, do I do that one or this? Those are all knit. Okay. So I would go outside with him and hold him, and the moon was so bright that night, and the way it was coming through the trees, I held him and I rocked him in the moonlight, and he quieted whenever I held him, and I think it was very comforting for him. And I just felt like she was there with me, like the moon was there with me and they were there to help. So as I'm working on this and thinking about these things, this is the energy that I want to put into it while I go forward, and to remember that, sometimes that intuition, that high priestess energy, the divine feminine, we often think of creation, but the end of cycles is also part of that, I think. So you can't have life without death, and it sucks, but yeah, very witchy and magical, I guess. Yeah, so I guess if that isn't some magical, witchy, high priestess shit, then I don't know what is. One thing, I will definitely be sharing more about it whenever it comes, but when we received Rudy's ashes back, I knew I wanted to do something special with them, and I found a jewelry artist who does rings with ashes, and she had so many beautiful pieces, and the one that I ended up choosing was very witchy, and it is a half moon, crescent moon in like cubic zirconia. And then there is a glass circle of the full moon, and that's where she puts the ashes, and she can do all these different effects with it. So we just sent his ashes this weekend. We were waiting for a beautiful day to do it. And we did get it, and we scattered most of his ashes in the yard that he loved to be in so much. But we also put some of them in the collection jar for her and sent them. And I think it's going to take about 2 months, 2 to 3 months. And then I will have a ring with my sweet boy's ashes, and I will be able to keep him close to me all the time. So when that piece comes, you can bet your bottom that I'll be showing it off and talking more about it if that's something that you think you might like for your loved one's remains. I know several people in my life who have done it for like grandfathers or partners or parents. So yeah, I'll share that when it happens. I think going forward, working on this, I've actually, I hope I'm not turning anyone off here with all my talk of death and sadness and everything. As much as there is so much that I'm grieving, there's also a lot of good. I'm sorry if this is a bit maudlin. In my head, it was cheerier, but we'll blame the Prosecco, shall we? Going forward, working on this, because I am very close to finishing. It really just needs these 2 panels in the front and the back, the length of the dress, and then it will be something that I can wear. But going forward to work on this, something that I heard recently on one of my favorite podcasts that's witchy, it's called Demystify Magic, and they were talking about how, I think they were relating it specifically like listening to your spirit guides or listening like to messages from the universe. But they talked about how with society the way it is, I said I can't, like I have to have multiple things. I have to be on my phone and watching something. I need to be knitting and listening to something lately, trying to keep my focus. We're getting so used to doing so many things at the same time that we're not listening to those messages from spirit, from the universe, and having to be like entertained constantly so that we're not alone with our thoughts. I saw a meme recently that was like, my thoughts? You want me to be alone with my thoughts? I just thought that was hilarious. And that's a lot of how I felt lately. Like, I don't want to be alone with my thoughts. But I think I also need to be sometimes, especially, now that I'm getting back into healing. I don't want to keep just drowning everything out, not letting myself sit with my feelings, not letting myself sit and listen and remember and think and ponder and all of those things. Because in those quiet times when your mind is going, especially if you can calm it a little with knitting, crochet, some sort of meditation, and I think those are the times that those messages really come in, that you're able to listen to your intuition and to learn how to listen to yourself and trust yourself more. So that is a big part of the essence of the High Priestess. And I think that's my goal for the rest of this project, is to carve out specific pockets of time where like, oh, I'm not going to grab this and then go put on a movie, or I'm not going to grab this and, go listen to my audiobook, my smutty audiobook. Instead, I'm going to sit in nature. I'm going to, sit with some, soft classical music. I'm going to sit in silence and just be with myself, which feels kind of scary. But I think it's also important. Oh, good. I thought I had totally screwed up the first couple stitches on the other side, but I didn't. Let me go back. These now need to be this way. See, I can do 2 things at once. Clearly, I just can't do one thing at once. But yes, so I don't know when the next episode of Magical Making will be, or how often I will get to work on this. Like I said, I'm very heavily focused on one project right now. But as soon as that project does wrap up, this is going to be something that I put on my radar. It doesn't have to be something that I work on every day, but it does want to be something that I reach for a lot more often. And, I will obviously still be talking about it when I'm working on it, especially if I'm filming on those days. But I think I can do that and also take the moments to listen. And yeah, I think it's gonna be good. And also, speaking of witchy things, I did recently get a new tarot card set and a new oracle set. Tarot card set's actually over here. It was from one of my amazing Ko-fi members, and she sent me this beautiful Flower Child Tarot by Kira Cian. Yeah, the cards are very like hippie flower child and fun. I have gone through the cards a little bit just to like see what they look like because they're amazing. But I don't like to work with a deck until I have cleansed it. So usually I do a sound cleanse, or like I like to burn cinnamon or rosemary to kind of cleanse the energy, and then set it out under a full moon. And then once I've done that, to charge the deck, I love doing interview spreads with my decks to kind of find out like, how should I work with this deck? You know, like what's the vibe? I have several decks. I think I have three. I have 3 tarot decks and 2 oracle decks that I work with a lot. And it is so funny seeing how each of these decks is like how I should work with them. I have the Santa Muerte deck, which is beautiful and very Day of the Dead vibes. And when I did that spread, it was like, we are not the party deck. We are for personal like reflection. We are serious. We are going to help get to the root of certain things. I'm like, okay. The first deck that I ever had was gifted to me by Michael Sean. And I did the interview spread with him like over FaceTime. And it was so much fun because that deck was very clearly like, I am here for a good time. Like, we're going to do some shit. We're going to do some work, but it's going to be fun. So that was great. And then I have a deck gifted to me by my beautiful friend, Abby. It's by a Ukrainian artist. They are incredible. I just can't think of it right now. But it is an erotic deck. Guess how that deck told me to use it. Just guess. It was pretty fun. So, yeah, those are the 3 decks that I have. Like I said, I also have 2 oracle decks. I have the Sacred Hags Oracle, which that interview spread was wild. I have never felt witchier. I was also drunk when I did it. But like the responses that I was getting for how to work with that blew my mind. And I also have the Moonology Oracle deck, which those cards are incredible. It goes through every single phase of the moon. And that was a very kind of typical, like, oh, use this deck to kind of get like bigger picture things and, like messages from spirit. So I was like, that's cool. So I have not worked. The Oracle deck that I got is from my friend Stephanie. Ugh, it's over there. But it is very like goddessy and beautiful. So I think that will be wonderful to work with too. But I need to cleanse those and set them out. So I'm wondering maybe I will do that on the next episode of Magical Making. I can show you how I cleanse and charge a deck and like show you an interview spread. That might be fun to do as like a little extra. 10 seconds left. We're doing so good, y'all. So good. You know what? I'm not even going to start the next row. Yay! I can't believe it. That hour flew by. I cried a lot. What else is new? But we did it. 1 hour of yarning. I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of you. I may not have made a ton of progress on any one of my projects, but I really liked that I got to touch all 3 of these projects that I haven't been able to work on very much. And yeah, I think I did 5 rows on, you know what? I'm really bad at this. I should have put stitch markers so that I could have like checked my progress. Next time. We'll do it for next time. But I'm going to go with 5 rows. I think we did 5 rows on my Cordelia cardigan. Almost completed a full granny square, which had already been started, on my relaxation Ruana. And I think I got through 3 or 4 rows on my Teresa dress. So all in all, not a ton of progress, but a little progress is better than no progress, and small steps end up helping us complete the journey overall. Okay, y'all, I hope you enjoyed my rambles. If you didn't, sorry. As we move forward, I will probably continue talking about my grief journey, but I also hope that we have more fun, more joy, more bubbles and bourbon, and lots more yarniness, of course. Next week, I am planning to be releasing some sort of vlog type video, I think, because I still don't think I'm gonna have a lot of progress on these other things to show you until I complete my secret design, which I am hoping to wrap up very soon, but it's probably still gonna be an in the process thing, and I don't think it'll be enough to do a show us your knits episode. So in lieu of that, it might be a Disney video, it might be some type of fun thing that I'm doing around my house, just like a fun vlog style video. There will be yarn per usual. And then the following week, I do promise I will be able to show you some updates on progress. Hopefully I can start sharing some things about my new design with Rudy. Maybe there will be a lot more progress on the relaxation Ruana, the Cordelia cardigan, and I might even pull some things out of hibernation, or maybe a new cast on. We'll see. Thank you so much for joining. Please let me know in the description if you like these body doubling crafty hours. Let me know what you worked on while you were yarning with me. Did you work on 1 project, 3 projects, 2 projects, no projects? Did you just listen? I don't know. If you haven't liked this video, please go ahead and give it a like. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that button. I do release videos every Sunday. And if you have a yarny friend that you think would like to have a buddy to knit or crochet along with, please share this video. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Cheers.